Today, I want to talk to you all a little bit on the subject of breaking chains. I'm going to be reading out of Ephesians 16:22 through 40. The crowd joined in the attack against Paul and Silas, and the magistrates ordered them to be stripped and beaten with rods. After they had been severely flogged, they were thrown into prison, and the jailer was commanded to guard them carefully. When he received these orders, he put them in the inner cell and fastened their feet in the stocks. About midnight, Paul and Silas were praying and singing hymns to God, and the other prisoners were listening to them. Suddenly there was such a violent earthquake that the foundations of the prison were shaken. At once, all the prison doors flew open and everyone's chains came loose. The jailer woke up. When he saw the prison doors open, he drew his sword and was about to kill himself because he thought the prisoners had escaped. But Paul shouted, "Don't harm yourself. We are all here." The jailer called for lights, rushed in, and fell trembling before Paul and Silas. He then brought them out and asked, "Sirs, what must I do to be saved?" They replied, "Believe in the Lord Jesus and you will be saved, you and your household." Then they spoke the word of the Lord to him and all the others in the house. At that hour of the night the jailer took them and washed their wounds, and then immediately he and all his household were baptized. The jailer brought them into his house and set a meal before them. He was filled with joy because he had come to believe in God, he and his whole household. When it was daylight, the magistrates sent their officers to the jailer with the order, "Release these men." The jailer told Paul, "The magistrates have ordered that you and Silas can be released. Now you can leave. Go in peace." But Paul said to the officers, "They beat us publicly without a trial, even though we are Roman citizens, and threw us into prison. Now do they want to get rid of us quietly? No, let them come themselves and escort us out." The officers reported this to the magistrates. When they heard that Paul and Silas were Roman citizens, they were alarmed. They came to appease them and escorted them from the prison, requesting them to leave the city. After Paul and Silas came out of the prison, they went to Lydia's house, where they met with the brothers and sisters and encouraged them. Then they left. So I want to take you back to verse 25, where it says that Paul and Silas were singing. And then in verse 26 it says that there was a violent earthquake and the foundations of the prison were shaken. At once all the prison doors flew open and everyone's chains came loose. There is a word that the Lord has given me that there are some people who are in chains, not physically, but maybe emotionally, mentally, physically, and the Lord wants to break your chains today. He wants to break the foundations of the prison that you have been in. It may be a prison of depression, anxiety, addiction. It could any one of those things, or something that I did not name. It could be an addiction of something that you're going through, a storm that you are going through right now that you're just like, I don't understand what is wrong. And I just want to tell you today, it's not about you and what you've done wrong. It's something that the Lord is taking you through to grow you deeper in your relationship with Him. And I love how it says, first of all, that they were singing in the prison. I know, it is so hard to sing when you're in trials, to sing in the prison, but something that is so important for victory is to sing before you've seen the victory won. Just like in 2 Chronicles 20, where the men went over to fight and the Lord told them, He said, "Sing, and you don't need to do a thing. Just pray and sing." So they put people in front to sing, and they marched over there, and the enemy that they were going to be fighting against had actually ambushed each other and killed everyone. Not one person was left. And that is just speaking to you right now. The Lord is fighting on your behalf, even though you may not see it, because they didn't see it until the battle was won that the Lord had been working. But they did believe in faith, and they sang even though they didn't know what to do. They were desperate, and they knew that if they didn't have the Lord on their side, they would lose. And I just love how Paul and Silas were singing, and they were just worshiping. And something that is so cool is they were singing, and then the prison foundations shook because of an earthquake, and their chains broke off, but they did not leave. And I believe there's a reason for this, even though it can be like, why didn't they run away? You know, they were so focused on the Lord that they didn't let the other things distract them. And it's kind of like if you're in the front of a room worshiping and the doors are at the back of the room. You don't know that the doors are open until you turn around. They didn't know, they might have known that the doors were open, but they didn't focus on the open doors. They knew that the Lord had something in there, and whenever the jailer went to kill himself, Paul goes, no, don't kill yourself, we're still here. See, that ended up with the jailer's whole family being saved and his whole household. And something that's so beautiful about that is they didn't let the outside circumstances influence them. They followed the Lord, even though what seemed like an open door really was an opportunity to see a whole household saved. And I think that's just so cool, because where there could have been doubt, I know I would have been like, Lord, why am I here? Why am I in this place? But Paul and Silas were worshiping, and yes, I'm sure they did have some doubt, but they trusted in the Lord. They let him guide them, and they said, we trust in you for what you have for us. And I believe that's just a word for someone today. You're going through something really, really tough. You just need to trust in the Lord. He will take you through it. He brings you through the battles 110%. He will not let you down. And he will lead you and guide you. You do not have to fear. As it says in Isaiah 43, it says he will walk you through the fire. He will not let the waters go over your head. He will be with you, and he will lead you and guide you. You just need to trust in him. I also love the point where it says, Paul says, we are Roman citizens. You're just going to let us go quietly. Something that is so cool is back then, around 2,000 years ago, Roman citizens were given extra privileges, like they had to go through trial, they had to go through the court and everything in order to be beaten, because they were Roman citizens. They had rights as a Roman citizen, and they had beaten them without the trial and everything going through. They just beat them. And Paul is like, no, you won't let us go quietly. He said, we have rights. Like, we've gone through a lot, and you're not gonna let us through. And the Lord just blessed them and gave them an escort, actually, out of prison. That was like, I've honored you for this, and I'm not gonna let you down, because I am with you, and I will be leading you and guiding you. And even when it seems like, what, you're just gonna let me go through all this and then just not use it? No, the Lord was using it, and he used it to bless them, because Paul and Silas knew that there was something, that they were going through this for a reason. And that's just so beautiful, because even in your trials, even in what you're going through, the Lord is going to use you to touch other people's lives. He's going to use you to lead other people to him. He's going to use you to be a strength and a rock for people who need that and need you, because the Lord is working through you. So I don't know who that's for today, and if that's for you, I would love to hear you say how this touched you. But I know it's for someone. And I just want you to know that the Lord is with you no matter what. Don't give up hope. He's not letting you down, and he won't let you go. He's got your back. You just need to trust in him.